Ben 10 mom say this. Thank you, my God, for not leaving my son. You cover him. Red heart emoji. Well, good for her, because he ain't gonna be able to walk no more, according to rumors. Ben 10 paralyzed. They didn't make it public yet. I'm gonna catch your name and pick out when I post this. Okay, bro, please. So, LOL. I don't want to be in none of that BR mess.
Below are all rewritten sections combined in order for easy copying. Ben 10 is paralyzed and JPrinceJr. could be arrested for it. The son of one of the most powerful men in hip-hop history is now at the center of a wild situation after a man who rode out for him ended up in a hospital bed, unable to move his legs at all. April 8th, Houston. A restaurant called Confessions. All-Star Jr. was allegedly trying to leave the building, but things were already heating up fast in the background. JPrinceJr. allegedly found out he was there and made a call assembling his people and sending them toward that elevator area. Ben 10 showed up out of loyalty and got hit with multiple bullets in the chaos, changing everything in seconds. Now he can't walk, and the situation is spiraling with serious legal attention building around JPrinceJr. as pressure starts stacking up fast. Here's exactly what allegedly went down inside that restaurant. Who was present? How things escalated, and why JPrinceJr. is the one now facing cuffs even without firing a single shot.
Let's see, one's been shot multiple times in the torso, probably in his late 20s. Another one's been shot in the extremities, in the lower extremities, and also all throughout his arms and everything several times. And he's probably in his mid-20s. They're both transported to local hospitals right now, and they're both in very critical condition. So my name is Lieutenant R. Wilkins, Willkens.
And investigators are not letting anything slide. All right, fam. To understand how we got here, we need to go back and set the table because this situation has deep layers that people are still trying to piece together. A lot of y'all hearing these names don't fully understand the weight behind them, so it's important to break it down clean and clear before things get even more twisted in the story. First, JPrinceJr. Now, if you know anything about Houston rap politics, you already know the Prince family carries heavy influence and reputation in the culture. This isn't just any family in the background. You play with his father, James Prince Sr., you're stepping into serious history. He built Rap-A-Lot Records from the ground up with real industry power moves and long-standing respect in the streets and business world. We're talking about the label that gave the world the Ghetto Boys, Scarface, helped launch some of the most influential careers in Southern hip-hop, shaping an entire era of music culture that still echoes today with major impact and legacy energy. The Prince name in Houston carries generational weight, serious generational influence that people don't just ignore. This isn't just about music industry ties. This family has deep street reputation, long-standing connections, and a level of respect that goes way beyond the studio lights. JPrinceJr., James Prince Jr., has been living under that massive shadow while trying to build his own identity in the middle of all that pressure and expectation.
Last vid got removed, but NBA YoungBoy friends are now in the hospital after getting popped by a man because police claim they tried to rob him, and he might not even go to jail. Here's the story, keep up. So Ben 10, one of NBA YoungBoy friends, and someone named Ron were trying to snatch the chain off a man inside the establishment called Confessions in Houston. They wrestled him to the ground, took his chain, then that's when the rest of the group proceeded to jump him. Yeah, the man then proceeded to whip out his firearm and start trying to play the game subtract.
But the issue is, and I'm keeping it real with y'all, his name keeps popping up in situations that don't even connect to music at all. We've seen him pulled over in Miami before, we've seen him tied into moments involving finesse 2 times, and now his name is connected to one of the most serious incidents of 2026. This isn't just online talk. Anymore, this is real-life attention building fast and heavy, and this time it's not internet rumors or speculation, because there are cameras, there are witnesses, and there's a man lying in a hospital bed who may never walk again. Now let's talk about NBA Ben 10, real name Ben Anthony Fields. Ben 10 is closely affiliated with NBA YoungBoy Circle, part of that Never Broke Again movement. If you know anything about YB's world, you know that camp is tight, loyal, and built on real trust and energy. Ben 10 has been riding with that team for years, not just a random name in the background, but a respected figure in the Baton Rouge street rap scene. People in that world know him, respect him, and recognize his presence in that culture, which is exactly why what happened hits so differently. Because this wasn't some unknown person caught in the wrong place. This was a man who came to Houston with his people and ended up caught in a situation that, honestly, should have never escalated to this level at all. And then we got All-Star Jr., real name Jeremy Ford, born February 6th, 1994 out of Detroit, Michigan.
Man, so let's say NBA YoungBoy's brother Ben 10 was reportedly shot at a Houston restaurant called Confessions. They saying that him and somebody else is in critical condition. I ain't gonna lie, bro, I'm seeing all type of different shit on this situation. Some people already talking about he passed away. Some people saying he's still alive. Somebody said that he tried to take somebody's chain. They saying they tried to take his chain. I feel like the only thing you can actually trust is the police report.
Straight from Joy Road on the west side before later moving over to the east side. All-Star Jr. came up connected to that Detroit collective All-Stars movement, running deep in that scene alongside names like T Grizzly, All-Star Lee, and All-Star Poe. This isn't just some random rap persona, this is a Detroit street rap circle with real weight and real history behind it. Not a soft move, not a clout chase at all. This is a man from the D who built his reputation in one of the most dangerous and competitive rap cities in America, where respect has to be earned, not given. He's got mixtapes, he's got a catalog, and he's got real moments in the culture that people recognize. And on the night of April 8th, 2026, everything escalated in a way that showed he wasn't backing down from anything going on around him at all. These are the three main figures in this situation, all tied to a restaurant called Confessions, located on the 3200 block of Kirby Drive in Houston, Texas, late Wednesday night around 11:30 p.m. when everything started shifting fast. Now that you know the players, let's break down what actually happened. But here's where it gets even more intense, because this situation didn't even start at Confessions. It started way before that, over something personal that has people talking heavy and shaking their heads at how deep this really goes. According to what's been circulating through multiple sources, the root of the entire situation allegedly traces back to a woman connected to All-Star Jr. Specifically, talk suggests it involves his child's mother, and that personal connection is what started stirring tension behind the scenes. Now, allegedly, JPrinceJr. became involved with this woman, and there are also claims floating around about a separate incident involving a child, but that detail remains unconfirmed and heavily disputed as of now. What people in the streets are saying is that this alleged situation may have been the spark that ignited everything that followed, turning a personal issue into something far more serious and chaotic than anyone expected at all. So you already know when street politics mixes with personal disrespect, especially when kids are involved. Things never stay in DMs or online talk, they escalate fast and messy. Now here's the setup. All-Star Jr. ends up in Houston, whether for music business or other reasons. He is deep in JPrinceJr. City, and that alone shifts the energy heavy, and reports suggest everything was already tense before that night. And somehow the two worlds collided. Reports suggest that when JPrinceJr. got word that All-Star Jr. was inside the Confessions building that night, a call went out. JPJ reportedly reached out and started pulling people together, squatting up fast and calling his circle into motion for the scene. Things moving quick and loud, and who showed up with that energy? Ben 10-3, another YB affiliate, and members of the Mob Ties crew. Now think about that for a second. Think about the chess pieces on the board.
3200 Kirby Drive at the Confessions nightclub, just behind me upstairs. It's a bar/restaurant type location. Tonight there was probably, I don't know, 20, 30 people in there and several servers and everything. Got some pretty good video. We got 2 victims on the scene right now. This is a shooting. We got 2 victims.
You got Houston royalty in the mix, the Prince family's heir calling in reinforcements because a Detroit rapper who allegedly got crossed is in the same building, and everything is tightening fast. The move reportedly was to confront him near the elevators while he was trying to leave, and that shift is what really stands out in this whole situation seriously. All-Star Jr. was reportedly on his way out. He was leaving and got caught near the elevators as things escalated quickly. Reports say multiple people closed in at once, and the wild situation turned chaotic fast. In the middle of it all, he was allegedly confronted while trying to move out, and everything spiraled in seconds. Held it together. Now let me slow this down because you really have to picture what's going on in that moment. One man getting swarmed inside a restaurant while multiple people rush him at once. He gets taken to the ground. Tension spikes instantly. People are swinging. Chairs are getting thrown, and the whole scene looks like it's about to turn into a full one-sided collapse fast. It looked like things were completely stacked against him, but then everything flipped in a split second. The gun reportedly falls out during the chaos. One person in Ben 10's crew was allegedly armed, and in the middle of the struggle, the weapon hits the floor and becomes accessible. All-Star Jr., who reportedly wasn't armed that night due to legal restrictions and prior history, allegedly grabs that weapon, and that single moment changes the entire direction of what's happening in that room. And just like that, boom, boom, boom. Everything shifts instantly. The power dynamic inside Confessions completely flips at around 11:30 p.m. on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. Houston police respond quickly to reports of gunfire at the restaurant on Kirby Drive, and when officers arrive, they're met with straight chaos everywhere they look. 2 victims were struck in the incident, and investigators immediately begin trying to piece everything together. One victim had multiple injuries to the torso area, while the other suffered wounds to the arms and lower body. Lieutenant R. Wilkins of the Houston Police Department later stepped in front of cameras, explaining what investigators were processing at the scene as confusion and shock spread rapidly through the area, and the street started reacting instantly after news broke.
Police got on video and explained what happened, and they said it was about a chain. They just didn't say who took whose chain. I ain't gonna lie, bro, we gotta do better, man. This shit shouldn't come to this over no chain. I guarantee whatever change somebody was trying to take wasn't worth it. NBA being beat the odds. I'm pretty sure he ain't even gotta live that life no more if it was him trying to take the chain. But then again, bro, some people know what they signed up for. Let's hope he make it out of this situation and get the chance to turn his life around. I know NBA Youngboy was hurt seeing this shit. For the people that don't know, this is one of his day one bros. Shit crazy.
About what went down that night. Within hours of the incident, word started spreading fast that one of the victims was NBA Ben 10, and the condition reports coming in were heavy, like really serious, not just injured or hospitalized, but ICU-level critical care situation. And from there, things only got more intense as more details slowly leaked out. According to multiple sources, and this is where the paralysis rumors begin circulating, Ben 10 allegedly suffered injuries that could impact his mobility long-term. People close to the situation have been saying the damage may be life-changing, possibly affecting whether he walks again or not. But that part is still not officially confirmed, and no hospital statement has backed that up publicly. The family and his team have not released a formal statement specifically confirming paralysis, but the silence online has been loud in its own way. No photos, no updates, no "I'm good" posts, no hospital selfies, nothing coming directly from him or his immediate circle since the incident. At the same time, OG Monique, the mother of YB affiliate OG33, did hop on Instagram to clear up one thing, saying Ben 10 is alert and asking people to stop spreading false reports about his death. And that part matters because it confirms he is alive, but being alive and being fully okay are two very different things in a situation like this. Meanwhile, All-Star Jr. walked out of that building after everything happened. He got up, moved, and was gone from the scene. And here's the part people keep debating heavily online. What allegedly happened in that moment is being framed by some as self-defense, with claims that he was being jumped and reacting in the middle of a chaotic group attack scenario. He was outnumbered, he was allegedly being robbed, and in the middle of that chaos, he grabbed a weapon that was already on the ground and used it to defend himself in the moment. Reports suggest Houston PD quickly leaned toward a self-defense interpretation early in the investigation, which instantly changed how people started viewing the entire situation. As of the latest reporting, no arrests have been made and no charges have been officially filed against All-Star Jr., and that right there is exactly what has the streets in a complete frenzy right now. Now here's where people started connecting dots, and this is the part a lot of folks are locked into because it goes way deeper than just a chain robbery story gone wrong. Let me be direct with it.
And police haven't arrested the man. They're calling him the victim because, stand your ground is big in Texas. If anything, once Ben 10 and Ron heal up, Houston Police Department are going to try to arrest them because they're literally labeling this attempted robbery that went wrong for the robbers. Yeah, but I'll keep y'all updated. Any more news come out. I really don't know what's been going on with rappers of lately. Every time we hit the news, somebody getting popped for something or somebody getting robbed. It's those between those two things.
This was not just about a chain. I need y'all to really understand that the chain narrative is only the surface layer people can easily point to. The chain angle is what made it look like a simple attempted robbery at first glance, but the surrounding context is what started changing the conversation fast. But when you look at everything leading up to that night, the alleged baby mama situation, the reported tension involving All-Star Jr.'s child, and claims that certain people were specifically called to that restaurant, it starts getting framed by some as something more targeted. Some online voices are calling it a message move, suggesting it wasn't random at all. And in those same circulating accounts, JPrinceJr. is being pointed to as the alleged architect behind the chain of events, though all of this remains based on claims and online reports, not proven facts. It was allegedly JPJ who made the call that night after learning All-Star Jr. was inside confessions. From there, things escalated quickly. People in his circle reportedly relayed the info, and that call is what allegedly pulled multiple individuals toward the location. That same chain of communication is what people say put Ben 10 inside that restaurant near those elevators at the exact moment things spiraled. And ultimately, that series of calls and movements is what ended with a man being shot multiple times and rushed into ICU-level critical condition, turning everything into one of the most talked about incidents of 2026. And here's the legal reality of all of this, and I need y'all to really sit with how serious this gets when you break it down legally. If a person organizes a group, calls people to a location, and coordinates a confrontation where violence breaks out and someone is critically injured or dies, the law can still come back on them hard. even if they never fired a shot or threw a single punch. There's a legal concept known as felony murder and conspiracy, and if prosecutors are able to establish that JPrinceJr. allegedly assembled the group and directed them toward confronting All-Star Jr. that night, the legal exposure becomes extremely serious. It's not just about who pulled a trigger. It becomes about who set the entire situation in motion. Think about it like this: if Ben 10's condition turns fatal, and as of this report he is still in critical ICU care, then James Prince Jr. could potentially be facing exposure to a murder charge under that framework. Not because of direct action, but because of alleged orchestration of events leading to the outcome. That's how serious these legal theories can get when investigators start connecting intent, coordination, and results.
Yeah, that's factual, that's actual. But the thing is that boy done died twice in that hospital, man. When they seen him, he was barely breathing. Thank goodness he was barely breathing. But the way that man was shot to hell, man, I'm going to tell y'all right now, it is a minor miracle, no, a major miracle that he's still alive. So that's your update, man. Do with it what you will.
The internet exploded when footage surfaced allegedly showing JPJ in the background at the scene because it confirmed presence, and presence becomes important when you're talking about coordination and timing. And when you combine that alleged presence with claims of phone calls, the reported motive involving the baby mama situation, and the group that showed up at confessions, it starts forming a timeline investigators are absolutely going to dissect piece by piece. Houston PD has already stated the investigation is active and ongoing, and while no arrests have been publicly confirmed at this stage, that can change quickly depending on what the evidence shows. The security camera footage from confessions is expected to be a major factor, and unlike social media narratives, that footage doesn't rely on opinions or rumors. It shows exactly what unfolded moment by moment, without edits, without spin, and without anyone controlling the story. Now some people online have been going back and forth arguing about whether All-Star Jr.'s crew somehow deserved what happened in that building. Look, I get why that conversation is happening, but it's not that simple when you break everything down. The Detroit camp wasn't walking in there innocent that night. There was tension, there was aggression, and there was a real confrontation building up fast inside confessions. There was even an alleged robbery attempt tied to JPrinceJr., and that is what people say sparked the entire chain of events in the first place. None of the parties involved are being painted as innocent choir boys here, because clearly the energy that night was already volatile on all sides. But here's the key point that matters both legally and morally. All-Star Jr. reportedly responded after being physically confronted and allegedly targeted in a robbery attempt. He didn't walk into confessions looking for violence. According to claims, the situation escalated after the other side moved on him first inside that space. That distinction becomes the core argument when people start analyzing responsibility and legal outcomes from that night. Everything that happened at confessions on April 8th sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community instantly, and those ripples are still spreading as more details come out. And then there's the mob ties angle. JPrinceJr. has been building that brand and network for years, aligning with artists, personalities, and figures across Houston's scene. But after this incident, people online started asking tougher questions. How many situations over time have ended in serious fallout when mob ties proximity is involved? That question is circulating heavily online, with different narratives and interpretations being pushed as people try to make sense of a situation that is still developing and still under investigation. This isn't the first time the JPJ name has been tied, even loosely, to serious violence in Houston conversations. People immediately bring up the Takeoff situation. Migos member Takeoff was shot and killed in 2022 in Houston, and while JPrinceJr. was never charged or officially implicated in that case, his name still got mentioned in online discussions surrounding the broader environment around that night. The point people keep arguing is pattern recognition. When the same name keeps appearing near major incidents, people start questioning whether it's just coincidence or something deeper in the ecosystem around it. That's where the conversation shifts from rumors to accountability discussions in the public eye, even if nothing is legally proven. Second, NBA YoungBoys camp is now in a complicated position. There has been documented tension in the past between YB and members of the Prince family network, so the fact that Ben 10, a YB affiliate, was allegedly present at this location, following a call connected to JPJ, adds another layer that people are dissecting heavily online. Why would someone from YB's inner circle even be in that orbit in the first place? That question is circulating everywhere, and right now there's no clean or confirmed answer to it. Third, All-Star Jr.'s position in all of this is still extremely complicated. The man from Detroit came to Houston and ended up leaving the scene alive while the other side suffered the worst outcome, and in street narratives, that alone becomes its own storyline. But legally, this is far from over for him. Even in a self-defense situation, cases can still go before a grand jury, investigations can continue, questioning can happen, and civil liability can still come into play depending on what evidence shows. And now, on the other side of everything, there is still Ben 10's family dealing with a real human crisis in a hospital right now, beyond all the commentary, theories, and social media breakdowns where the focus ultimately shifts from narratives back to a life hanging in the balance. Ben Anthony Fields is a man with people who love him, people watching closely, and people hoping he makes it through this. And if the paralysis reports circulating online turn out to be accurate, then
if you were wondering why All-Star JR was wearing this shirt, well, that's because Ben 10's team is a little too chatty-patty. Y'all remember this story, right? Yeah, the boy is dying. He died twice. That is shocking. Cleared twice. He's losing a lot of blood, so that's why you're not seeing anything. All the rumors about the paralyzed.
his life has been changed forever in a way that can't be undone. Not because he was the center of some deep personal beef, but allegedly because he showed up in support after being called into a situation he never should have been placed in from the start. That's the part that really makes people pause, because Ben 10 didn't initiate anything here. According to what's being said, he came through off a call, out of loyalty, and now he's the one facing the most severe consequences of everything that unfolded that night. Let me zoom out for a second, because this situation is bigger than just JPrinceJr and NBA Ben 10. This is a story about power, loyalty, influence, and how quickly all of that can collapse into real-world consequences that permanently change lives. Here's the reality people keep circling back to. The hip-hop industry has always existed, right? On that thin border between entertainment and street culture. And most of the time, artists, executives, and affiliated figures manage to operate in that space without it turning into real tragedy. But when individuals, regardless of status, family name, or industry position, allegedly use influence to coordinate real-world confrontations, that's when things stop being entertainment and start becoming life-altering situations. That's when careers don't matter anymore, music doesn't matter anymore, and only consequences remain. JPrinceJr. is the son of a legend, but that title doesn't shield anyone from responsibility if it's proven that decisions were made that led to someone being shot or permanently injured. The Prince name carries major weight in Houston, no question about that. But with that kind of weight comes expectation and responsibility. And right now, based on everything being reported and alleged, people are questioning whether that responsibility was fully upheld in a situation that has now left real people dealing with real and possibly permanent damage, honored on the night of April 8th. The question this community keeps wrestling with is one that keeps coming up again and again and again. At what point do we stop making excuses for powerful people when those same people are allegedly tied, directly or indirectly, to situations where regular loyal people end up paying the heaviest price? Ben 10 was loyal. Ben 10 showed up when called, and now Ben 10 is fighting for his life and allegedly fighting for his ability to ever walk the same again. And JPrinceJr. was in that building. He appears in those videos. And if Houston PD and prosecutors fully execute their investigation, he's going to have to answer some very serious questions, because at the end of the day, the security cameras are going to tell their own version of events. Cameras don't have loyalty. Cameras don't have affiliations. Cameras don't care about reputations, influence, or whose family built what in the industry. They just capture exactly what happens in real time, and what was recorded that night at Confessions on Kirby Drive is going to be one of the biggest deciding factors in how this entire situation gets legally interpreted. If Ben 10 pulls through, and everyone is hoping he does, because no matter what happened, no one deserves to be in that condition, then the legal pressure may shift in a different direction. But even if he survives, that doesn't close anything out. Civil cases can still come. Investigations around coordination and intent can still continue. Grand jury proceedings can still happen behind closed doors, and more people could still be pulled into questioning as details unfold. The legal chapter of this situation is only just beginning to open, and if the worst-case outcome ever comes to pass, if Ben 10 doesn't make it out of that ICU situation, then everything surrounding this case could escalate into something even more serious and far-reaching than what's already being discussed right now. Then JPrinceJr. better have access to the best legal team that Rap-A-Lot Money can put together, because at that level, the charge sheet can change everything in an instant if prosecutors believe there's a direct connection to what happened inside that restaurant. And the Prince name, for all its history, legacy, and influence in Houston and hip-hop culture, may not be enough to shield anyone if the evidence allegedly connects him to the coordination or setup of that night's events. No cap, keep it 100. This is one of those situations where real life is moving way faster than what people are seeing online. The investigation is active. The cameras reportedly have footage from inside and outside confessions, and the streets are already forming their own version of what happened. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what law enforcement and prosecutors can actually prove, not what the internet believes. Right now, it's just a matter of whether the courts catch up to the pace of the streets and the speculation surrounding this case. As this develops, every new detail matters, every statement, every clip, every witness account. So stay locked in. Make sure you subscribe, turn on that bell notification, and don't miss anything coming out on this story, because the moment there are updates, whether it's arrests, charges, court filings, or new information about Ben 10, we're going to break it down immediately with no filter, no fluff, and no cap at all. If you've been following this situation, drop a like on the video, share it so others stay informed, and comment your thoughts below on how you see this playing out. We're going to keep tracking everything as it unfolds. We'll be right here covering every update. Real recognize real, and I'll catch you on the next one.